Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today, this one's going to be doing a review for the Walking Dead universe, and in today's video, we're going to be doing another discussion video for today, and another Walking Dead universe Q&A. I'm back with another Walking Dead Q&A. I know I missed a week, apologies for that, but I wanted to definitely get one in before San Diego Comic-Con, which is in 2 days. So, we did just get a brand new poster for Daryl Dixon, as well as a brand new preview image as well too, which are very interesting. We've got Daryl and Carol fighting some kind of new group. I mean, we've been seeing them a lot in the advertising. They got like these crazy helmets and, you know, all this crazy stuff going on. So we got them kind of fighting them, and you got like a nice Spain background, you know, for the image and stuff like that. Now, that's like the banner for the season. I'm assuming the actual poster will probably be released along with the trailer in a couple days. You know, the actual, like, season key art and stuff like that, you know, because I doubt that this is the key art. I mean, I guess it could be, but I doubt it is. I feel like the actual key art is going to be something different. But yeah, really cool, image there. Really like it, like the banner for the season. It looks nice. And then we've got an image of Daryl and Carol in London, by the looks of it, kind of pointing towards, you know, maybe Julian, you know, it's hard to tell, maybe that new character, you know, but something, you know, something like that, or, you know, Daryl just pointing, saying, hey, we got walkers over here, you know, something like that. So, it's going to be interesting. This has definitely been one of the quietest years for the Walking Dead universe in terms of just news when it comes to what's going to happen next. It feels like we're just walking into a Daryl Dixon panel, and that's literally it, which is insane, you know, considering last year we had The Ones Who Live and all this other crazy stuff going on, and this year we've had, you know, Dead City, which, you know, that's cool and stuff, but we haven't really had that much else, you know what I mean? It's kind of just been here and there, you know, so it's going to be interesting, to say the least, to kind of see what they bring at this event. I'm hoping there's more than Daryl Dixon. That's kind of the thing I've been talking about the most here, is that I do hope that there's more to the franchise right now than just Daryl Dixon. I would like to get an update on other things. I would like to, you know, find out if there's any other spinoffs in the works, or if there's a real plan for any kind of, you know, massive event for The Walking Dead, or, you know, something, because I feel like we need more than just Daryl, you know, so, that's kind of my whole thing with that, you know, situation. Hopefully we get more, but again, you know, we'll have to see kind of what ends up happening. But anyway, let's get into your guys' Q&A questions, and let's go over your guys' comments for today. The first one comes from Comic Bow Breaker, who says that, Dan, honestly, I just think at this point they've done a really lousy job. The ignorance of Morgan's character for over 2 years, the quality of Dead City Season 2, and other things in this franchise, it's no wonder people are leaving. Yeah, like I said, you know, anybody that leaves the franchise at this point, I understand it. I definitely do. You know, because you're at a point where it's like, okay, Rick's character is concluded, and, you know, you're kind of sitting there and you're like, okay, we got endless spin-offs that aren't really adding up to anything, you know, so it's like, okay, you know, maybe I'll just step off here, you know, and I get that. I definitely, I understand that. My thing is that I would step off, but there's things in the story that need to happen that they've been shoving in our faces, you know, like the reunion with Rick and Morgan, like the reunion with Rick and Daryl, like, you know, some of these things that, you know, I think need to be shown, you know, so until those things happen, you got a guaranteed stay from me, which is, you know, again, kind of insane, but that's kind of just where I'm at with it. You know what I mean? That's kind of just where I'm at with the whole thing. Obviously, the reunions, they'll happen at one point, but they're dragging it out. They're getting as much mileage out of this as they possibly can, which is crazy, but, you know, it is what it is. Next one comes from JR, who says that, Dan, honestly, to quote Negan, there is no sitting around the table at a happily ever after. No, it doesn't work like that. Not anymore. That's the state of the Walking Dead universe. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's very facts. I actually saw a meme, and I'll put it up on the screen if y'all are curious. It is a Squid Game, and it was I found this hilarious. You got Gi-hun in season 1 like smiling and stuff, you know, because we just got the one Walking Dead show, the great one Walking Dead show, all the spinoffs at the bottom, and then that's us in 2025, you know. I'm like, honestly, that's facts. In the 2000s, like the 2010s are like, oh wow, Walking Dead, you know, and then in 2025 are like, holy frig, like, how much of this are we gonna get, you know? So, it's very true. No, it's a very, very true statement. When I saw that, I was like, honestly, facts. Honestly, yeah, there is no sitting around the table happily ever after with The Walking Dead, you know, because they keep cliffhangering into other things, you know? We can never get to the table because nothing brings us there, you know what I mean? So, we're kind of just sitting there waiting for the table to be set up, if you will. You know, that's the state of The Walking Dead right now, so There you go. The next one comes from Shelly, who says that I definitely do enjoy the spinoffs, and I do enjoy their presence for The Walking Dead, and I definitely think I enjoy them more than you do, for sure. Yeah, you probably do, definitely, because, here's the thing with me with the spinoffs is I can kind of take them or leave them at this point. If you're not giving me real Walking Dead consequential, content that actually has, stuff going on that furthers the overarching brand, I usually don't care as much. And that's kind of where I'm at with The Walking Dead. I'm kind of like, okay, we got Daryl, we got Dead City, but do they really matter? And it's like, maybe they slightly will when this whole thing is done, but I don't know if they'll matter to a massive degree or anything crazy like that, and that's why I kind of just put my expectations low with these spinoffs now, because I'm like, all right, look, I thought that Daryl Dixon was going to be this game-changing thing with Jenner involved and, context on the outbreak and all this stuff. Like, they made the Daryl show seem big, and it's not. It's just some random show with him going around doing whatever. They made The Ones Who Live with General Beale and the CRM seem like a big deal. Like this could be the ultimate endgame Walking Dead thing, or at least a massive event, which it wasn't. It was just a reason to conclude Rick and Michonne's characters, and then Dead City was a great little standalone. And that's one thing I respect about Dead City, is that Dead City never overly promised anything, They always just told you it's an offshoot with Negan and Maggie, you know what I mean? That's why I respect Dead City a little bit more, because I do like that they just tell you what it is, you know what I mean? They just straight up tell you what it is. But even that show, it's gone to show you here, each one of these shows have failed in one way or another. Ones Who Live's a good show, but it didn't last long enough. It didn't do what it needed to do. Daryl Dixon, I look at as a simple missed opportunity. I think you could have done a lot of different things with the France storyline, and you didn't, unfortunately. You only did a portion. I think Daryl missed a lot of opportunities, and now it's just turned into him going place to place, which does not really intrigue me, but again, it is what it is. I kind of just watch it for dumb entertainment now. That's kind of me with Daryl. And then Dead City, I really love the first season, so I was like, okay, this is really cool. But then you kind of sit there and you're just like, okay, but does this really matter? You know what I mean? It's like, probably not, So all these shows, to me, it's like, to me, objectively, the best spinoff of all three of these is The Ones Who Live, just because, and I've had time to sit on that for a while, just because I think The Ones Who Live, at the very least, is telling a story. It told it too quick, but it told a story, and it concluded Rick and Michonne before doing a second season that's not as good as its first, and then messing up Rick and Michonne's characters because the writing is such garbage. They didn't do that. They did a 6-episode series with Rick and Michonne, and they ended their characters at a time that, they felt like it was right to do so. Do I agree that it should have, been 6 episodes or just 6 episodes for Rick and Michonne? No. But at least they didn't drag it out, and at least they didn't overly complicate it like they're doing with Daryl Dixon and like they're doing with Dead City, where it's like, holy crap, we got another season of this, because that's the way I'm responding to it now, I'm like, okay, we got another, spin-off season with, Negan and Maggie. We got another spin-off season with Daryl. It's like, holy crap, Whereas with The Ones Who Live, I'm like, oh, it's, it's done, And that's why I said in my video a couple days back, I was like, I don't really think we need a Ones Who Live season 2, because I don't trust that they wouldn't mess it up, I really don't. Like, the Daryl Dixon second season was not as good as its first, and I could say the same about Dead City season 1 to season 2. So I honestly, I don't want to see Rick act out of character, I know some people say that Rick already acted out of character in season 1 of The Ones Who Live. I disagree. I think Rick was great. That's the one thing you're going to catch me saying consistently was awesome. Michonne had some cringe lines, but Rick was perfectly fine to me. And I think Rick actually had one of his better episodes of the overarching character in 101 of The Ones Who Live. That was a great character-focused episode, really went into his mindset, that, you see, when I talk about that, it's like, what the hell, we just got an episode like 101 of The Ones Who Live last year that is one of the greatest I'm not even joking, it's one of my favorite Walking Dead episodes of all time. It's like in a top 5, top 10 best Walking Dead episode, The Walking Dead Ones Who Live 101. Where is this writing now? No, seriously, where is that quality now? Why couldn't Dead City have an episode that good? Why couldn't Daryl Dixon have an episode that good? You know what I mean? I'm not asking for that type of quality every episode, obviously. But, at least something along the lines of the complexity in the writing that episode had. I don't know. Like, like, watch 101 of The Ones Who Live, and then watch 201 of Dead City. And I guarantee you'd be like, holy frick, what? Like, it goes to show you, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. That's all for me to say that, I'm sure there's people out there that like the spinoffs more than I do. Listen, I'm watching them. I'm here to watch them. I'm here to review them because I've invested so many years in The Walking Dead, and I would feel like there's something missing if I'm not going to watch these, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at, and I'm loyal, so, you get me for the spinoffs pretty much regardless, but again, it doesn't mean I have to like it, you know what I mean? No, it definitely doesn't mean I have to like it. I think that the first seasons of the respective spinoffs are great, and the second seasons are not as good. So, hopefully, I am crossing my fingers that the third seasons will pick up the pace a little bit and maybe give the shows a bit more of a purpose. I mean, for Daryl, I doubt it, but, maybe for Dead City, they can bring, some things in that maybe, do ultimately matter, again, tough to say. But we'll just have to see how they kind of execute the whole thing, really. The next one comes from Dora, who says that, honestly, I'm really tired of them dragging Glenn's name out like this. Honestly, I don't even think a reunion or a hallucination with Maggie would be necessary at this point. I think they need to let the idea go. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I would like to see Glenn. I kind of disagree with that. I would like to see Glenn if you are able to, although, I mean, if you haven't seen the videos we were doing earlier this week, Invincible Season 5 is recording, so I don't think anything with Glenn is going to be coming. I know Gimple wants to get Glenn on there, but, I mean, honestly, Gimple, set your priorities straight. You're fighting to get Steven Yeun as a hallucination on Dead City, but you're not fighting to do something with Rick, or at least tell your fans that Rick's wrapped up, if he is wrapped up, you know what I mean? It's crazy to me, man. It's insane. His priorities are absolutely flawed, Let's bring back a dead character for a quick hallucination for Maggie, which, again, I would enjoy seeing that. That's not my problem. My problem is that somehow Gimple's priority is to bring Glenn for a quick scene in Dead City that you could do at any time, you know what I mean? But you're not trying to get Lenny James to do something, you know what I mean? Or Andrew Lincoln, or, like, his priorities are just, they're not there, man. Like, honestly, like, is his head in a garbage can? Like, I'm genuinely curious. And should I throw it out? Because what is happening? Like, what? Seriously, like, who cares? So in that respect, I do understand what you're saying. Like, why does that matter when there's other things that should be happening? Yes, 100%. But again, I mean, I would be down with a Glenn scene. Is there things in this franchise that are a bigger priority? Oh, you're damn right there is. But, again, like, maybe a reunion, oh my God, I keep saying reunion, a hallucination of Glenn would be cool, But again, they gotta do more important things. That's my problem. They gotta do more important things than that, before they get to something like that. But, again, Gimple and his priorities, what can I say, Again, his head is in a trash can and it's swirling around. It's garbage. It's no good no more. I need to throw it out. Get rid of his chief content officer role and get somebody in here that actually has a brain. You know what I mean? Crazy, man. I tell you what. I've heard some people say, I've heard a few people comment that said that, Dan, I wish you were the chief content officer. I'm like, well, I wouldn't want that job. You know what I mean? But admittedly, the first thing I would do, I would look at Gimple, I'll be like, you're fired. You're out of here, But I guess thank y'all for the compliments. I've heard that from y'all over the last few months, and I'm just like, I mean, that would be a lot of work. I can't guarantee I would know 100% what to do, but I say this, I would try for y'all. I would, and I would try. I mean, I'm a writer myself, so I do know what it's like to write stuff and, write apocalypse content. I would know, at least, in general, what to do. I mean, I would hope that I would bring it to a point where you guys are satisfied with the story, but I mean, y'all know me. I would have a lot of things changing. A lot of things would be different, and, well, the franchise would be, admittedly, probably concluded if I was in charge, and people would leave happy, hopefully. I wouldn't have dragged out the Walking Dead title this long. No, definitely not. Because you don't need to. You don't need to. You know what I mean? Tell a good story and then you're done, Tell a lousy story and then wait 10, 15 years for it to eventually go down in popularity and then cancel it. It doesn't look as good at that point. You know what I mean? So that's the main objective I would have. But again, it's tough to say, man. It really is. It's a crazy crazy situation. And well, finally, we got one from Unknown who says that, Dan, I gotta admit, I started losing interest in The Walking Dead after the finale of The Ones Who Live. Don't know if I'll be back for the other spinoffs, Daryl, Dixon, stuff like that. Yeah, again, my comments are flooded with this type of information. It's insane. And that's what makes it objective, I would say, because even though I'm watching these shows and I'm, gonna, try to enjoy them as the best of my capability, I will also admit it is definitely difficult to stay engaged with The Walking Dead at this point. It is, and I definitely acknowledge that, and The Ones Who Live definitely took some interest out, for what could happen later on in this franchise. I think it definitely took that interest away a little bit. But, again, I still like the characters I'm watching on the spinoff, so I'm still going to watch them regardless of how I feel, or regardless of the writing of some of their, seasons, you know what I mean? But that's kind of just me on that topic. So anyway, we got Comic-Con in a few days. Honestly, I think we need it. We need something new for this franchise, something exciting, and I'm not just talking about Daryl Dixon. I honestly hope the Gimple shows up with something. I hope the Gimple shows up with some kind of news, and that we get something of importance, something of substance at this event, you know what I mean? Because if it's just Daryl Dixon, if it's just the same old, I honestly think this fan base is going to start leaving even quicker than they already have. Because I can tell people are at their wits' end, you know what I mean? And before they just lose a lot of their viewers, they really should do something to kind of bring the interest back, you know what I mean? Because clearly, this is not working. This is not working. So, anyway, post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think, of course. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, guys, make sure to click subscribe button to miss any of the videos. Make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official on Instagram, guys. And, of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos for the Walking Dead universe. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected, every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.